My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to...
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't...
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my brothers, my siblings, arguing with the abbot to...
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. At other times...
I'll leave you be. Don't worry.
Thank you. And please, Gregor.
How is it that you don't get any penance?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that.
There's something I should tell you. Something you won't be happy to hear. I'm here to find someone and, to do away with him. But listen, it's not murder. Not when it's a man like him. He's one of the brigands who...
What's he doing here? And who are you?
They call him Pious because he used to be a priest. When he found out a lot of people were after him, he hid away here. And as you can see, they sent me here to find him and bring him to justice.
So we have one outlaw and one assassin in our midst. This place is a lot more exciting than I expected.
Well, that's just it. No, but I hope I'll track him down soon. If you find any...
I swear I don't know anything. Except that I'm not the one.
It could be
Antonius. He's a fine fellow. No, it can't be him. Although...
See how hard it is? It could be anyone, and at the...
Peace be with you, brother.
I won't tell you more, and I'd like you to keep silent.
You're talking about killing in the monastery.
Would you do that? I have a feeling you...
You're right. I'll keep it to myself. I've got problems enough of my own without involving myself in yours. And besides, I mean to be gone from here within a year, so why should I...
Thank you, Siskin. I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other... Tell me about Antonia.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with, of course, the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm...
That's all. Who would you elect, Abbot?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been...
I've no idea. Why don't you ask Brother like...
I'd like to ask you something about... I'm still curious about this treasure.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services.
Actually, what would you like? I'm Gregor and I'm new.
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you
About you in the election.
ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about
Nevertheless is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our life. Nevertheless is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are the benefits for...
I'd like to help you if I can.
I'm convinced Nevertheless must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out. If he was preaching water...
So, I should dig something up on him and tell you about...
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevertheless is too cunning and careful to give...
Once I find something out, I'll tell you. Thank you for answering. I'd like to ask you... Who's in charge of this?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on.
And what happens when the old abbot...
Well, then we elect a new...
Tell me something about...
Prayer, work, obedience.
Can you tell me something about the rule...
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers changed, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged.
I'm interested in the monastery.
Well, it was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the...
Heretics, you say?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God.
What are the roles of the
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the cicatas. They're the ones who maintain discipline.
What can you tell me about the novice?
And what can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year...
I meant something specific about the brothers.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one. but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you.
Can you leave?
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight.
Ah, Gregor.
What troubles you?
Talk to me, brother.
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such...
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted...
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like...
It appears to be a page torn...
Ovid? What is that? Is it the...
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place.
Good. I'll look around.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all...
Can you tell me something about...
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere.
I found a few pages of the torn up.
Wonderful. Keep looking then.
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm...
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about...
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time... I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for it.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for...
Do you know anything about...
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for...
I'm interested in the other... Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery.
Ha! I knew it! It's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always...
Never mind that. Who's a villain?
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense.
You mean his not going to morning prayers?
So you noticed that too?
Ah, you've got the wrong end of the stick. That has nothing to do...
You think so? He definitely acts like...
That's what I'm trying to find out.
What are you going to do to that fellow once you find...
I don't know yet.
You should talk to the Circators or the Prior about it.
Can you tell me something?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and you know what? I'm glad to be here.
Who would you vote for as the...
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we should...
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonia...
I'd like to ask you something. I'm Gregor, and...
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery.
That means you get to leave the monastery.
No, not at all. I just write lists and...
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life, but in reality I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources.
I'm interested in the election.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin...
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about.
Tell me something about how the new abbot will be.
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery.
Can you tell me about Abbot?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still... But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superior...
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do...
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a... Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about it.
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only... No one will notice if one book disappears. But if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is
Is there anything you can tell me that...
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or...
Why can't you do it yourself?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me crawling around in the black of night searching?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately, Librarian Cyril is a...
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go... They say Brother Celarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to... We'll soon have the election of the abbot over...
I'm interested in the election.
You're not alone.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more...
I'll be interested to know more about Brother...
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's nothing but an old schemer and pedant who preaches water. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't call...
Why do you want to become abbot?
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and...
That's all.
Peace be with you, brother.
Ah!
Ah, Gregor.
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the... There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books.
They say he won't make it.
It will drive him mad.
No.
Is there anything I can do for you?
He'll still be on this earth for many years to come.
I wish all
I'd be
good
interested in
health
finding
for
out the
Father,
background of
but
the
I
other
want
novice.
change.
That's
And
a
only
strange
you
wish
abbot
you
can do
have.
that.
Waiting
And the only
pays off.
ones who know everything
No
about the
hurry.
novices are the abbot and the... They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior...
Thanks. You've helped me...
No, thank you. About that book, don't even think about breaking in.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in...
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Neverless"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and every... But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order.
Very good then. I'll find...
Thank you, brother.
I'd like to ask you something.